are in segment 2. So tell me, Ben, about your creative process.
Yeah, so my creative process is like as torturous, I think, as something could be. It almost feels like a mad professor sometimes for me. But you know, I'll start with a song and a concept and maybe music to it, and I'll change the music. I'll lay down a scratch vocal, and 9 times out of 10, it takes like 10 or 15 different identities before I find the identity I like. So I'll rewrite the lyrics completely. I'll basically write 10 different songs to make one song out of the same initial thing. But what it always sparks from that moment where you're like, I need to write a song immediately. And so if it comes out that I need to write a song immediately, I write a song immediately, and I go down to my lab and I write the song and I get it out, get the identity of the song out, and then really am quite torturous on myself till I find what I think is right. So
every artist has a little lab.
Yeah,
everyone has something that they just go into.
It could be quite moody. It can be quite, 5 days of work become thrown out and you just let it go. But you got to admit it. Okay, that wasn't what it could be. And
sometimes that's the toughest part. Just admitting that that wasn't it. Scratch. Next.
Yeah. But then that helps get it to where you want it to be. So I think as long as you accept that and don't just ignore that inner thought,
a little voice.
Accept the thought, but then also know that it has a completion. Because some artists never put something out because they're always like, I need to do this, I need to do this.
Yeah, completing a project is possibly the most important thing. Because ideas are fantastic, but ideas become projects, which become songs or become videos or whatever art you're into. Like if you have an idea to paint something, it's not anything until you actually paint it or until you actually finish your track. And like I said, my dad is a musician as well, so I know very well your process. You go into the car, you listen to it, you're like, no, that's not it. And then you go back into the studio, to your little lab, and just tweak here and there.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. And I think that, having an end date or an end point to it, say, I'm going to either release it here, or sometimes say, I need to scrap this one. And just being honest, say, this song is going nowhere. It doesn't have it's not going to have an identity. It has a lot of segments, but it's never going to have an identity.
Yeah. I do have a question about your songs. Are they mostly based on your personal experiences or things that come to your mind?
Yeah. The only way I can successfully write is when I write on my what I'm feeling emotionally at the time. Because otherwise, it doesn't have the same identity. Like if someone asks me to write a party song, it's going to be very difficult unless there's something I can literally pull from that and say yes.
Unless you went to that party.
Yeah. It would have been the last night's party or the next party. Yeah, or exactly. Yeah. I mean, it really has to be that, and there has to be something at that party that made me like, I need to get this out. That was really cool or really painful or something like that. So yeah.
All right. So I bet you have some other songs that are in the works as well.
I do, yeah. If you want to talk about grinding over a song, there's one I'm almost done with that probably will be the last one I do independently before I go on to the next phase. And it's called Move On, and it's another one of those where
very fitting. It's the last one you're gonna do before that, so you have to move on.
It is, and it didn't even plan it like that, but it just it just happened to be. It's the last one before moving on. So I'll probably release that one the next week or so. And,
okay.
And it's just, I think it's going to come out great, but it's one of those ones where literally on the ride over here, I'm thinking, all these things I need to do to it. I'm just, I come here a little irritated because I'm still stuck in that world and know that when I get home, that's what I got to get back.
Yeah, that can be sometimes tough. That like when you're in your lab or when I'm editing the videos or the films that I do, it's hard to snap out of it sometimes, to get out of that mindset of, okay, I'm working, I'm doing art, I'm doing this and that, but eventually you have to go out and meet with your wife or with my significant other, with my girlfriend, or it can be tough to escape that, because I think that we feel so attached to it because it's a personal thing that we just want to hold on to it.
Yeah, and I always look at it like you're unlocking a puzzle. So like if it's a Rubik's Cube and you're trying to figure out the perfect essence of that song. And until you get it, it's just like, maybe with video, it's the same thing. It's no, that piece didn't work.
We went through quite a few edits, right? Like going back and forth, which that's the process. We edit, I send it, he looks at it, he's like, maybe tweak this, here, this, and there. And even something that may seem simple, like the color of the video. Like once we finish the actual editing, like, okay, now how are we gonna color it? what's the mood we want, what's the feeling that we want, and that all has a lot to do with it. And it's just a process.
No, it is. I mean, and even after a video or something's done, you can see your brain doesn't stop.
Yep.
So, you know, to me, I always got to put it, right? You put a checkpoint, okay,
That's it.
it's done.
I can't, because you
I
can
still
always
it.
do more stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll leave that to the next thing, you know.
So some of this must come to you at like some sort of subconscious level, like when you're dreaming, you know, and you're kind of in that state in between being awake, being asleep. Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the one you really have to take note of too. Is the one where you're in bed about to fall asleep.
You're like, oh.
You better go get down there or get to your place and get it down, because you'll lose it. And so you have to. That's where you can't be lazy in creative process, right?
Oh no, it's
You have to be on it in that
the
moment.
creative process demands a lot from you as well. Like it's something that you love to do, but at the same time it's very demanding, because it might be time that you wanted to spend doing something else, but it demands that of you, or it won't come out like you need it to. And needless to say, sleepless nights are a thing for artists.
I know the feeling.
A lot of coffee, a lot of sleepless nights editing or cutting your song, or even just thinking of how to get unstuck, how to solve that Rubik's Cube, like you said.
Definitely, yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today here we're at Starbucks in Santana Row, of all places.
Oh yeah. Well,
And-
thank you, Ann. This is great. I love the experience, and I look forward to. Doing
Thank
it
you.
again.
It's a lot of fun. I'm so glad to meet with both of you. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, us too.
Thank you so much.